Good morning. If everyone can take their seats, we'll go ahead and get started. Welcome to the 2018 Research and Evaluation Conference on Self-Sufficiency. My name is Tiffany McCormack. I'm in the Office of Planning, Research and Evaluation at the Administration for Children and Families, and I'm one of the co-organizers for this year's conference. This morning, I have the pleasure of introducing Naomi Goldstein, the Deputy Assistant Secretary for Planning, Research, and Evaluation at ACF. Naomi will be giving some opening remarks along with Steve Wagner, our Acting Assistant Secretary. Naomi joined ACF as the Director of OPRE's Division of Child and Family Development in 2000. She became Director of that office in 2004 and then became Deputy Assistant Secretary in 2015. Previously, she directed the U.S. Postal Service Commission on a Safe and Secure Workplace, an independent commission that examined workplace violence affecting the Postal Service and the nation. She served as a project manager for the Urban Institute, an executive officer in the Office of the Assistant Secretary for Planning and Evaluation at HHS, and earlier in her career, she worked in the Massachusetts state government and developed infant mortality prevention programs at Brigham and Women's Hospital in Boston. Naomi received a BA in philosophy from Yale, a master's in public policy from the Kennedy School of Government, and a PhD in public policy from Harvard University. She was awarded the Presidential Rank of Distinguished Executive in 2012. And with that, I'll turn it over to Naomi. Thank you.
Good morning. Thank you, Tiffany. So it's my pleasure to welcome you to this 19th Research and Evaluation Conference on Self-Sufficiency. I want to mention a couple of notable things that have happened at OPRE in the last couple years since we last convened. Then I'll give a brief overview of the conference and mention a few sessions I'm especially excited about and introduce my boss, Acting Assistant Secretary Stephen Wagner. So the theme for this year's conference is Creating Pathways to Work and Well-Being. The conference includes 5 plenary sessions, 36 breakouts, 13 roundtables, and 20 emerging scholar posters on research and evaluation related to family self-sufficiency. The sessions are organized into thematic tracks shown on the slide. And if you're interested in topics in one of these particular tracks, you can browse the agenda or the app, the conference app, by track to find what interests you. We have nearly 1,000 in-person registrants this year, and many more are tuning in via the live stream. So welcome to all from near and far. I'm very pleased in particular to welcome 43 TANF administrators and other TANF-affiliated attendees, and you should have a sticker on your badge to show your TANF affiliation. If you haven't already, please make sure to stop by the registration desk to pick up a list of conference sessions that may be of particular interest to you. So since we last convened in 2016, OPRE has established a new division, the Division of Data and Improvement, to focus on the availability, quality, usefulness, and interoperability of data across ACF programs. This division oversees the human services domain of the National Information Exchange Model, and we're about to launch the ACF Interoperability Action Plan, which Acting Assistant Secretary Wagner recently approved. In addition, starting in fiscal 2017, last fiscal year, Congress tripled the amount of funds available for welfare research, evaluation, and technical assistance. I'm going to say that again. In fiscal 2017, you don't have to applaud, but it is a pretty big deal. Congress tripled the amount of funds available for welfare research, evaluation, and technical assistance. And among other activities, we used those funds to launch 2 major projects, Building Evidence on Employment Strategies for Low-Income Families, BEES or BEES. This project will evaluate innovative programs designed to promote employment and self-sufficiency, and it will especially prioritize programs serving individuals or families affected by opioid dependency, other substance abuse, or mental health issues. We also launched the TANF Data Innovation Project, which will support states' enhanced use of data from TANF and related human services programs. This may include helping states strengthen integrated data systems, promote program integrity, or using data analytics for program improvement. and the project will soon be conducting a needs assessment survey of the states. In addition, in the fiscal 2017 legislation that boosted funding for research and evaluation and TA, Congress has also required us to build a What Works clearinghouse, reviewing the evidence on practices to help welfare populations move into employment. So we're planning to build that on our existing employment strategies evidence review, and we'll soon be soliciting public comment on our plans, so please look out for that. Finally, ACF has also substantially increased its investment in childcare research, and among other projects, we're gearing up to repeat the National Survey of Early Care and Education, which we last fielded in 2012. Okay, so just to give a further brief overview of the conference, we are hip to social media, and you can participate in the virtual conversation in a number of ways. You can tweet with the hashtag RECS 2018 to share what you're hearing at the conference and your thoughts about it. Remember, if you want others to see your tweets, you have to adjust your privacy settings. And if you want us to like and retweet your tweets, please be respectful. You can also participate in a virtual roundtable discussion by joining our LinkedIn group, and there's an old-fashioned paper handout with information about social media at the registration desk. We also have a mobile app that allows you to view the conference agenda, receive real-time updates about conference events, and participate in Twitter directly from the app. You can use the app to personalize your schedule. You can create a public profile and connect with other conference attendees. You can download presentations and take notes. You can get the app by searching for RECS Conference on your app store, or by visiting recsconference.net as shown on the slide. Also, there's information on signs around the conference about downloading the app, and again, an old-fashioned paper one-pager with tips at the registration desk. Following the conference, or even right now, you can sign up for OPRE's newsletter or follow us on Twitter and Facebook so that you can stay in touch between now and our next conference 2 years from now. So those unable to attend the conference in person can still participate on the conference live stream. Of course, if you're hearing me say this, you're either here in person or you're already on the live stream, but feel free to share information about the live stream with others who may not be here or may not already be listening. So, and we especially invite our live stream viewers to connect with the rest of us using the social media tools that I've described. You can send questions to panelists by email to 2018recs@gmail.com. You can tweet with the hashtag RECSLive, or you can submit questions on the live stream site using the Submit a Question function. I want to mention a few special events. Today at 2:45, our Emerging Scholars poster session. The scholars are early career researchers who were selected to participate in the conference and include several OPRE-supported family strengthening scholars and behavioral intervention scholars. During the poster session, designated time this afternoon, all of the scholars will be on hand to answer questions and talk with the rest of us, but the posters will be on display throughout the conference. This year, we're also hosting a Facebook Live event during the poster session to feature some of this work. Tomorrow, we'll have a lunchtime session. Scott Allard will highlight current geographic trends in poverty across America, and will discuss which safety net programs have been most and least responsive to geographic shifts in poverty, with reflections on implications for state and local policy and practice. Also tomorrow from 2:30 to 3:45, we'll have facilitated roundtables, which are a chance for interactive discussions on a range of topics. Your program book and the app have more specific information about the roundtables and where to find them. We have a number of in-person networking opportunities. So today at 12:30, we have a discussion which is open to all that will feature panelists with experience working in federal and local government, research firms, and nonprofit organizations sharing their insights and advice about career building. We will have an informal social gathering immediately following the conference today at 5:15 in the Hotel Mix Lounge. Refreshments will be available for purchase. At the same time, the National Association for Welfare Research and Statistics will be hosting a happy hour NARS will be providing refreshments. We will not. Tomorrow at 5:15, you're invited to mix and mingle with the RECS emerging scholars and other young professionals at the Marriott Marquis High Velocity Bar just down the street, and that is also a buy-your-own event. Now is also a good time for networking, so I am going to give you 3 minutes, and I encourage you to speak with someone at your table or nearby whom you don't already know. Okay, that's enough of that. Time to stop. That's enough networking for now. We'll have more opportunities later. Okay, thanks. I'm always surprised at how popular those 3 minutes are, but I'm glad you're off to a running start. So I just want to mention a few sessions that I'm especially excited about. We have really a bonanza crop of findings this year from several OPRE evaluations. In particular, today at 1:30, we'll have a plenary session on evaluations of career pathways approaches from the Health Profession Opportunity Grants evaluation and the pathways for advancing careers and education evaluation. And these findings will also be featured at several breakouts. We will be presenting findings from the Job Search Assistance Strategies evaluation tomorrow at 10:15. Tomorrow at 4, we'll have a plenary on findings from the Subsidized and Transitional Employment Demonstration, including findings from a short-term follow-up survey that provides information on the effects of employment on well-being. And then on Friday at 10:15, we'll have a plenary presentation with findings from the Parents and Children Together evaluation, an experimental evaluation of healthy marriage and responsible fatherhood program. So I don't want to provide a spoiler, but you can tell I'm really excited about these findings, so they must not all be null. Okay. I want to thank the OPRE Family Self-Sufficiency Research Technical Work Group, many of whom are here today. We had a very good meeting yesterday. We thank you for your invaluable guidance for the development of OPRE's research agenda. I want to thank our staff at OPRE and our business strategy consultants contractors, Mark Fucello, the fearless and able director of the Division of Economic Independence, Tiffany McCormick, Amelia Popham, Victoria Kabak, Lauren Deutsch, Gabrielle Newell, Catherine McKinney, Derek Joyner, Lane Carpenter, Elizabeth Pollack, and Deanna Cheatham, and our Impact International contractors who handle all of the logistics for the conference. Jennifer Pinder, Annie Oliver, Morgan Molnar, Shelley Wood, and Ben Blotner, probably all out in the hall making things happen and not here to hear me thank them. Also want to thank my husband, John Bushman, who came today, and in addition to supporting everything that I do, he was the founding director of the Tribal TANF program, so feel free to seek him out if you want to hear about the beginnings of that program. Next, it is my pleasure to introduce my boss, Stephen Wagner. He's the Principal Deputy Assistant Secretary and Acting Assistant Secretary of the Administration for Children and Families. Before joining the administration, Mr. Wagner was the founder and president of QEV Analytics, a public opinion and data analysis firm. At QEV, he collaborated for many years with Joe Califano, the former Secretary of Health, Education, and Welfare, on strategies to prevent teenage substance abuse. He also worked with clients on messaging to help at-risk populations avoid poverty. Wagner also founded and served as president of Solidarity with the Persecuted Church, a nonprofit organization that supports Christians in places of persecution. In past federal roles, Mr. Wagner was the director of the Office of Faith-Based and Community Initiatives at the Department of Housing and Urban Development, and at ACF he previously served as director of the Anti-Human Trafficking Program, where among other accomplishments he launched the award-winning Rescue and Restore Victims of Human Trafficking Public Awareness Campaign. Finally, from my experience working with Steve over the past year, I can tell you that he is level-headed, mission-driven, and sincerely committed to reforming the U.S. safety net. Of particular interest to me and this audience, he's been a consistent supporter of OPRE, allocating scarce human and financial resources to support our research and evaluation portfolio and our growing slate of activities related to data availability and interoperability. Please join me in welcoming Steve Wagner.
Good morning. I'm thrilled to have this opportunity to welcome you to Washington and to thank you for your presence here today and in the days to come. I asked Naomi if she didn't have an earlier session that I could participate in, and she assures me this is as early as it gets on the program. I want to start by congratulating Naomi and her staff on a great event, fabulous agenda. I know this is going to be a really memorable experience, and we're gathered on a historic occasion of the 20th anniversary since the founding of RECS. And Mark Fucello was telling me that the first RECS was all focused on the aid to families with dependent children waivers, which in turn launched a TANF. We're thrilled to have Clarence Carter, the head of our TANF program, with us here this morning. And in sort of one of those historic examples of things coming full circle, a lot of the conversation, I imagine, is going to be focused on the Medicaid waiver states. This is a topic of very keen interest to us at ACF. You probably know that the Administration for Children and Families is a pretty vast portfolio of programs, seemingly disparate programs. TANF, Head Start, Refugee Resettlement, the Child Welfare Cluster, Child Support Enforcement, Runaway and Homeless Youth. But the thing that strikes me about this $60 billion portfolio of social programs, really the human services part of health and human services, is that all of our programs are focused on facilitating the participation, the full participation of the people we seek to help in the benefits of American society. When you look at child welfare, what is that about but helping children who had adverse experiences nonetheless make it to adulthood with the ability to be full participants in our society? Early childhood development, again, we're addressing intergenerational poverty and trying to make it possible for the next generation to enjoy the fruits of our society fully. Refugee resettlement, we don't subsidize the refugees that come to this country, we integrate them. We make it possible for them to be independent participants in our society. And then of course, maybe the most shining example of this is TANF, where we seek, through the building of human capacity, to create greater independence, economic independence, and full participation in American society. I think you're going to see going forward that the promotion of employment, again, through human capacity building, through the promotion of independence, is going to be a signature issue for our administration here at the Administration for Children and Families. And I want to tick off a couple of the exciting things that are going on in this area right now. Naomi mentioned the What Works Clearinghouse. That's going to be the data resource, the intellectual repository for strategies to succeed at this task of moving people to independence. And I know Naomi and her team are going to be looking to all of you to populate our What Works clearinghouse. We have some exciting proposals that came out of TANF that are in the President's budget. Under Clarence's leadership, our TANF program is seeking to move back to its original purposes, which were the promotion of employment, and to re-engage, stop the game playing over the work participation rate, and genuinely re-engage the people that we're seeking to serve. I mentioned the TANF waivers. I see this as a tremendous opportunity, and I want to highlight two aspects of the state waivers to impose work requirements on the Medicaid. Did I say TANF waivers? The Medicaid population. This is not an effort to move people off of Medicaid by kicking them off. This is an effort to elevate people who are on Medicaid. And to me, the reason this is such an exciting opportunity for ACF is because we've identified a population of people that we can serve. When I look at Medicaid and food stamps and public housing, I see programs that we want to work with through our TANF tools because there are new populations of people that we believe we can serve. And that's what's so exciting about the Medicaid waivers to me. The other aspect is, in the Medicaid waiver states, there's a potentially new infrastructure for the promotion of employment, for this campaign of ours to build human capacity, and that's the managed care organizations. As a matter of fact, we have a friend from CareSource with us today, which is one of the more impressive mission-motivated MCOs that is working to raise people up out of Medicaid into self-sufficiency. For many of these MCOs, we're going to have to work to develop incentives so that they can overcome the financial incentive to keep people on Medicaid. But I'm confident that we can come up with solutions to engage them, to arm them with the expertise that is represented by the people in this room, and use that as a new infrastructure for lifting people up. So that's very exciting to me going forward. Another interesting, very exciting development is our collaboration with the Social Security Administration. They've reached out to ACF and have asked us to help them with a project to move people either from disability back into the economy or to intercept them before they get on SSI and move them back into full employment. And again, this is a project that Naomi and her team are playing a central role in with Clarence and his TANF team as we seek to identify effective interventions that we can fund with money provided by the Social Security Administration, and then of course ACF providing the rigorous evaluation on the back end. Another example of how we intend to reach into all corners of American society and seek out people whom we can help to move toward employment. You know, it's intimidating from time to time when I step back and think about it, so I try not to think about it, but we've made a lot of promises, and we have committed to make ACF an engine for the promotion of employment and the improvement of the human condition in this country. We've made bold promises, and I'm very concerned that we deliver on what we've said that we're going to do. And that's why our partnership with you is so critical. It's why I'm so gratified that you're here today, and why I look forward to working with you going forward, because we have a lot to do. Thanks so much.